What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Podcast, where I'm trying to watch as many Marvel movies as I can as part of the MCU before Avengers Endgame releases in April. April 25th to be exact. It's April 26th, but we're trying to go watch it a day early, so we don't have much time. We're a little over a month away from the release of Avengers Endgame, and today we're talking Captain Marvel, which was released just a few short weeks ago. By this point, I've already seen it twice. I had no intentions of seeing it twice. I saw it first with my guest here today, the lovely Alexis. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I say welcome back. It's kind of the first time, your first time on the Marvel Movie Podcast.
Yes.
So, in that sense, welcome to the Marvel Movie Podcast. And I saw it a second time with my brother Jackson, who had not yet seen it at that point about a week or so ago. I'm glad I got to see it twice. I kind of had a newfound appreciation for the movie coming out of a second time. You were also a person who had seen it twice, bits and pieces of it the first time, and then more so the entire thing the second time.
Yeah, well, what's funny about it is both times that I watched 20 minutes. I missed the first 20 minutes both times.
Okay, listen, I was going to try to lend you some credibility by leaving that part out because it doesn't exactly show that you know what you're talking about when you leave out. Then again, let's say this. I have seen the first 20 minutes. I missed it the first time because we were running late and you went to go get Subway and I left the theater to go help you, blah, blah, blah. The second time, I saw the whole movie. There really isn't much that you're missing in those first 20 minutes. It helps set the stage a bit more and makes sense of certain things. So I would recommend at some point you go out and watch the first 20 minutes of the movie, even if it's months down the road. It's not make or break, though. That being said, the overall movie, regardless of whether you missed the beginning or not, was very good. I thought it definitely lived up to expectations, if not exceeded them ever so slightly. I would not go so far as to say, as many people have been saying to me in recent weeks, that it was one of the best Marvel movies they've ever made, which, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. Like to say that Infinity War is the best Marvel movie they've ever done, that's debatable. I don't think it is, but I mean, if you want to think that, I think that's a good opinion to have. There's good opinions, there's bad opinions. That's an alright opinion to have, with Captain Marvel being the one of the best Marvel movies they've ever made. But I did think this was a very good movie, especially for a film, at least in my opinion, that I felt kind of flew under the radar. That's how I felt coming into the release of Captain Marvel, because I felt like there was hype around it, around the time that she was first teased for the MCU. I mean, of course, we've known about this for years now, but when she was teased at the end of Infinity War, I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to the movie, seeing who Captain Marvel is, how they introduce her and kind of set up her backstory and whatnot. And then she was just kind of forgotten about until recently, until the movie came out earlier this month, or this might be up in April, so back in early March is when the movie came out. But I thought it was a good movie, so we'll talk about the nits and, the little parts of it. We'll break it down in a moment, but your overall thoughts on the movie, Alexis?
I thought it was like, if I could give it a grade, I'd probably give it like an 80, like a 75 and 80. It wasn't the best movie I've seen, but it also wasn't bad by any means. Like, we already talked about this, but some characters don't really, stand out or give you, like, that urge to keep watching. And they didn't really advertise that much for it. They didn't make it out to be as good as they want everyone else to want it to be. So it wasn't, like, the best thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad. I would definitely be up for a sequel, and obviously they're setting up a sequel based off the ending, which showed... Forgot the name of the dude, but the main bad guy that wasn't Ronan. You know, the one that kind of deceived her to begin with?
That guy, I don't know what his name is.
He didn't die, though. He didn't die at the end. She shipped him off in a ship. She shipped him off back to their the Kree planet to tell everyone that she knows what's going on. She knows the real deal. She knows that her people, her former people, are all the bad guys in this situation. And, he was kind of the messenger guy, so... He didn't die. I'm sure he will be back at some point. Marvel does everything by design. Usually, if you don't die, you will be brought back or acknowledged or something at some point.
Yep.
Look at the main villain from Captain America, the first movie, back in 2011. He went persona non grata. He went MIA for 7 years before showing up in Infinity War, Red Skull, in that one scene on the Soul Stone or whatever it was. So there's a very good chance we'll see him again, whether it be in the sequel or another Marvel movie down the road. I thought he did a good job in his role. Personally, and I said this to you a few weeks ago, I thought Samuel L. Jackson stole the show in this movie. Not to mention Goose, but in terms of human characters, I thought Samuel L. Jackson stole the show in this movie.
I absolutely agree with you. He's just a great actor in and of himself, and he's got that, like, thing about him where just the way he talks, the way he acts, those little things that he does, he just makes himself stand out, not even trying. So.
He does. I mean, it's Samuel L. Jackson. How can you not like Samuel L. Jackson?
Exactly.
Love me a little Samuel L. The guy's awesome. The guy's amazing. Can't go wrong with him. So I thought he played his role to perfection here. And he's been in a number of movies. He's obviously been in quite a few Marvel movies.
Yep.
But you can argue that this is kind of like his origin story, too. Obviously, this isn't the earliest we've seen the Marvel Universe go back. Captain America took place in the 1940s. This takes place in 1995, my birth year, so arguably one of the greatest years, aside from 1999. But yeah, we kind of see his early beginnings as a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., not yet director, and I thought he did a great job. He was very likable, very funny. I thought he kept it consistent throughout, playing the serious guy and, you know, and whatnot, the good cop, bad cop throughout the movie, and kind of putting up with Captain Marvel's bullshit and kind of seeing what she was going on with there, and what she was dealing with her powers and whatnot. So I thought he was great. And I think, you know, he's made appearances here and there in various movies, but this is the first film I think we got almost an entire movie made about him. And obviously it wasn't the Nick Fury movie, but it was the Captain Marvel plus Nick Fury movie. So I thought
they really should make a movie about him.
I mean, at this point, do they really need to?
They don't need to, but like, I don't
maybe
know.
A show. I mean, I don't know about a whole full-length movie, but like,
I mean, a movie is less than a TV show. A TV show lasts for seasons on seasons. If they did like maybe like a childhood type thing, like how did he lead up to this moment? How did he become like, who he is?
I could see that. I could see that happening. But he's been in quite a few movies recently. Obviously, he was in Captain Marvel. He's bound to be in Endgame. Obviously, based off what we saw at the end of Infinity War. He's already been advertised for the new Spider-Man movie coming out in July. And he was also at the end of Infinity War 2. I don't think he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So he's been in a number of movies over the last year and a half after taking a multi-year hiatus, I think after Civil War. But no, I thought he was really good. The use of Goose, and I'm not a cat guy, but the use of Goose as the Flarkin was awesome. Flarkin, I'm sorry. Potato.
He's listening.
I thought he was awesome. Yeah, he would eat me right up. I thought that was great. And I thought... What was the other character? The guy who they thought was the bad guy at first. Talos. I liked him.
Was that his name?
Talos, yeah. He also plays Keller, which is the Nick Fury's boss of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
the
that's right.
The guy from Ready Player One, from Rogue One. That guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy in all of these movies. So going into the film thinking that he would be the main bad guy did not surprise me at all. I thought he played that role to perfection. And I was honestly on the fence. I'm like, was that the same guy? Because remember they showed him earlier on in the movie as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then it was revealed that he was a shapeshifter. That was the same actor.
He was a
Skrull.
I want to say like Marty Skrull.
I know, that's what I'm thinking too, yeah. I think it's Skrull. But
Skrull.
I might be mistaken on that. But, yeah, no, I thought he was great, too. I thought he was another compelling character. The only person who didn't do a ton for me, and I might get a ton of shit for this comment, depending on whether you agree or not. Brie Larson is Captain Marvel. I thought she did a very good job. I don't want to poop on her. I don't think she did terrible. I'm not a big Black Widow fan. I think her character could use some more development.
Absolutely. I can't stand Black Widow.
Zero evolution.
Hate Black Widow.
Hopefully we see more evolution with the Captain Marvel character, which is what this movie was all about. It's not that her character didn't have evolution. It's not really the character. It's just Brie Larson in the role. And I like Brie Larson. It's not her fault specifically. Maybe it's a case of where she'll grow into that role like Thor did. Like early on, Thor... Chris Hemsworth, I'm sorry, as Thor, did nothing for me in those early Thor movies. The guy was boring as shit. That being said, he became really entertaining by the time Ragnarok came around in 2017. So maybe this could be the case with her as well.
Yeah, but she shouldn't have to grow into a role, you know. She should already be... I really have a feeling like they just casted her for her name.
Maybe it's not her fault, though. Maybe it's... Which is possible. But maybe it's... just how, I don't want to say scripted, but a lot of her lines for me just fell flat. Like I didn't think she was that funny.
It just seemed like she was on autopilot acting. Like
it felt like she tried a little too hard at times.
Like the film she was in 2016.
The Room. Yeah, 2015.
The Room.
No, Room. I'm sorry. The Room is disaster
I
artist.
thought it was the other way around. But
Yeah, it's
the one she was in 2016, 2015 or whatever. I think it was 2015.
It was 2015.
Okay, the one she was in 2015 was so good, and she was put in like this really vulnerable spot, and she was really good with working with it. But I feel like she didn't know what to do in this instance. I just feel like they roped her in, and she was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. It's a Marvel movie. I'll get a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
And it's not really something that's in her description of like roles, because there's certain roles that other people can play, and there's other roles that people think, no, that would not be good for me. And I don't know if a superhero role was like her. I don't really know if she was cut out for that, just because I feel like she didn't do like the best job. Like, she just didn't stand out. So I completely agree with you on that, but I won't say that she's a bad actress, because I think she's a great actress. She's fantastic. I don't think they felt scripted to me. None of that felt scripted. It just felt like she was on autopilot. Like, when I went to school in New York, my acting teacher was telling me, he's like, you can't be on auto. You always have to think of every line you're saying as a new thought, or as it's just happening to you again. It felt like to me, when they were saying, okay, action, like, she just kept repeating it the same exact way. She wasn't thinking about it. She was just like, all right, I'll say my lines just how I said it last time. Like, that's how it feels.
Yeah. Which is why I think it might take her time to grow into that character.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Some people should just hit it right off the bat. Like, it should just click from the get-go. But it's not necessarily a bad thing that she hasn't. Like, she wasn't offensively bad by any means. To the point where it's like, okay, why did they cast her in this role? No. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how she kind of factors into Endgame. She showed up in Endgame at the end of in the post-credit scene of Captain Marvel. She showed up in the scene that was a part of the trailer, where you see all the Avengers in the HQ, and they're all kind of standing around, and she confronts Thor. I think that was the trailer. But she shows up at the end of Captain Marvel with the little beeper thing, which was teased at the end of Infinity War.
Yep.
I thought the tie-in was great. That was really well done. That's really what people were looking for here, to see how she kind of segued into Infinity War, how she got from point A to point B, where she came from, where she's been the last 20 years, how she started in the first place. The backstory with all the flashbacks, I thought was great. Again, if you don't watch the beginning, it kind of gets a little confusing.
I saw like the very tail end of it when we watched it the second time, or when I watched it the second time with you. I saw the very tail end of that, and then I saw when she was with the Marty Skrull or whatever they're called.
Oh God, yeah.
When she was with them. But I will say, and I was thinking this, she's like kind of one of those like cliche badass characters that like is cold and doesn't feel anything and isn't very emotional. Like that's just how she felt to me.
Yeah, Brie Larson.
Yeah, like when I'm thinking about it, like
a little bit.
She just has to be, I don't know.
Well,
she does have to grow into it, but like I said, you shouldn't have to grow into a role. Like, what if someone was even better for that role? They're just not as well known as her. Like, what if they were more deserving of it than she was?
Yeah. No, that's understandable. I thought she still did a really good job.
Yeah, she did a great job. She didn't do a bad job. I'm just saying, like, she could have been a little bit more.
Yeah. Maybe it depends on who she works with going forward, because she had a very good dynamic with Samuel L. Jackson, with Nick Fury.
Yeah, she did. I will say that. She had a great chemistry with him.
So maybe she'll have very great chemistry with Thor, too, you know, with Chris Hemsworth in Endgame. And maybe that'll kind of bring out the, not comedic aspect of her character, but just anything more than what we saw in Captain Marvel.
It'll be a little bit more colorful, because there's
a lot to focus on with the origin story, so I honestly don't blame her too much for not hitting it out of the park with this movie, at least in my opinion.
Well, actors tend to, like, take after other people that they're around, like, performing around. I feel like when she was with, like, in that little end credit scene, I think she said, like, where's Fury to her?
Yes.
To Black Widow.
Yeah, it was to Black Widow.
I feel like they won't have... I feel like they wouldn't have, like, good chemistry. Like, I wouldn't peg those two together.
Black Widow and Captain Marvel?
Yeah. Like, as actors.
Not really, no.
No. Because she just, like... I know this isn't about Black Widow, but I literally hate the actress. She's so stiff and bad. Like,
she really has not progressed much at all from the early Iron Man movies to now.
No, she's so bad.
That was like a decade ago.
She's so bad. After I saw her in, it's specifically Scarlett Johansson is so freaking bad. Like, when I saw her in Lucy, I'm like, girl, you have to quit. I'm sorry. You go back to your day job.
It was a weird ass movie too.
Yeah, it really was. I'm not a big fan of her, but I will say Brie Larson did a great job, as she always does, but she could have, there's always stuff to work on.
There's always room for improvement.
Yes.
Always room for improvement. No, I like that. Another real strong part of this movie that I enjoyed personally, the soundtrack.
Yes.
A lot like Guardians. Guardians had the 80s feel to it. This, obviously emanating from the 1990s, had a 90s feel to it.
Yeah.
You had the Gwen Stefani.
Oh my god,
Nirvana
I loved
in
that
there.
song.
The Gwen Stefani feel, the Nirvana feel to it. I thought it was great. I really I thought the inclusion and the incorporation of the music was seamless.
I think music is definitely a big part of making a movie, because like no matter what you do, you have to find music that works with, like, especially an action movie, like the movement that's going on, like who's the character, what song. Like they played that Gwen Stefani song when Captain Marvel was like kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah,
like,
no, it was perfect.
Perfect
Which
timing.
you would never expect that, to be honest with you.
No, like it's good, like dynamics, good like comparing this freaking, what is it called, No Doubt song with like Captain Marvel kicking ass. Like it's so weird.
Yeah. And then I forgot the AC/DC theme to the Iron Man movies too.
That was in there?
Oh no, not in Captain Marvel, to the Iron Man movies.
Oh.
A lot of AC/DC in those movies, yeah. War Machine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Back in Black, like stuff like that. So, which is cool. So again, I told you this before, but like imagine a Guardians Captain Marvel crossover in Endgame, where they're just comparing music. You know, Captain Marvel, she didn't grow up in the 90s. She arrived in 1995.
Yep.
So she heard the 90s music, but she doesn't really know what it's like to have experienced the 80s. Whereas the Guardians are still, you know, not the Guardians specifically, but more so Star-Lord, he grew up from the 60s, 70s, 80s.
He has like all the 80s music.
Exactly, but he doesn't have the 90s
Exactly.
music, you know? So
yep.
that would be a cool thing to kind of toy with in the next Avengers movie and from that point forward. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have a ton to say about Captain Marvel, which might be a testament to it wasn't a bad movie, but I felt like there was a lot more to talk about, because so far I've already reviewed Guardians and Thor Ragnarok. This one didn't resonate with me as much as those movies did.
Yeah.
Although there was a lot to like about this movie, but I feel like what you see is what you get with Captain Marvel. It was a great origin story. Now I have a reason to invest in her character and care about her character come Endgame in a few weeks. But it was by no means a blowaway masterpiece.
It was more about like how she got her powers and how powerful is she.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of having the movie is to be like, okay, why would Fury call this random person?
No, exactly. So I thought it did its job, and it did a very effective job of setting the stage for Endgame and the role that she'll play in that movie.
I think that was the main point, and then just didn't have like that factor to me where it was like, okay, this is an iconic movie.
No.
Like there's a few of them. Like I'm not as big of a Guardians fan as you are, but you know that one has its own unique thing about it. Like Spider-Man Homecoming does. I loved that movie. That's like one of my favorite ones. Like Iron Man 3, definitely. All the Iron Mans, they each have like their own little unique thing about them. But like it almost kind of felt like to me like they were kind of copying Guardians, just with like a 90s feel.
A little bit.
But I don't know. I mean, the one thing I did really like was how unique like the plot was. The fact that her people, the Kree people, ended up being the bad people.
No, I thought that was a nice twist.
And the Marty Skrull were the good people.
Oh god, yeah, the twist that Marvel has in their movies are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
they really are. Like the twist that they have. For example, this isn't a Guardians 2 review. Have you seen Guardians 2 or no?
Yeah.
That the dad ends up being the big bad guy. Great twist.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier. Have you seen Winter Soldier or no? Captain America 2?
No.
It's revealed that, I mean, this was 5 years ago. It was revealed that Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. have become like one at that point. That Hydra had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. Hydra was like the big bad group.
Yeah,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hail
were the
Hydra.
good guys. Yeah, Hydra had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. by that point. So they were like villains on the inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So S.H.I.E.L.D. just, you know, dissipated.
Thanks
after
for
Winter
spoiling
Soldier.
it for me.
I mean, by this point, it should be pretty obvious because S.H.I.E.L.D. has been no more for a few years now, as they were the S.H.I.E.L.D. hat on my head. But what I'm trying to get at here is that their swerves are really well done. Because the marketing for this movie, which, by the way, that website that they put together promoting this movie
I loved it.
was fucking awesome.
It was so cool.
Marvel's attention to detail is fantastic.
It is. It's amazing.
Their promotion for shit like this is awesome.
It's because they have the money for it.
They have the money for it, but they're very creative with it, too. Mm-hmm. Like, coming out of Infinity War, this was not really promotion as much as it is, like, a reactionary thing. You go to a simple website. Did Thanos spare me? You were either spared or you weren't spared. That's all it says. You literally go to the website, spare me Thanos, or whatever the website is. It was put together, I believe, by Marvel. Don't go to that exact website. It might take you to like a fucking porn site or something, but like it's something like that. And it simply says, yes, you were spared, or no, like, sorry, you're dead. You're helping like serve a better cause or something like that. It's awesome. And I don't know if that was put together by a fan or by Marvel themselves. So what I'm trying to get at here is that their promotion for the movies is great. Mm-hmm. And going into Captain Marvel, the promotion of the Skrulls being the shapeshifters, and you see that scene with... Yeah, exactly. You're on the website right now. What's the name of the URL?
Did Thanos kill.me?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You were slain by Thanos for the good of the universe.
Exactly, yeah. Isn't that cool?
Aww,
I think
I'm
I died
sorry.
too. No, I died too, so it's fine.
Yay.
Yay.
Go to heaven together.
Oh,
or
God.
hell.
Or whatever it might be. But still, you see that scene in the advertising with the woman getting punched in the face, the old woman on the train or the bus or whatever it was? Mm-hmm. It's like, holy shit, like these people can shift into whatever they want, whatever they see. You know, I thought that was really cool. And you would think like, oh, that's a typical heel, bad guy tendency.
Yep.
But they ended up being the good guys. I thought that twist was well done. They acted, going back to see it a second time to kind of observe their actions and whatnot, like observe their antics and just their mannerisms of the Kree, not the Kree, the Skrull
The
people.
Marty Skrulls.
Yeah, exactly. They felt like bad guys. Now, I know that was done on purpose, so you didn't have an indication like, oh, early on, like, oh shit, like they're the good guys. But they came across as evil. Like, they had heelish tendencies, and they said some, like, villain-esque stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was a little confusing, because if they were good guys the whole time, then why did they do and say certain things that they did?
They do that in like films, TV shows, and they do it in WWE too, to make you
I know, just to
keep you going one day. Like, I know that makes no sense. I agree with that.
I know.
It makes no sense.
But they could have been a bit more ambiguous with it. Whereas if you go back and watch it, like, oh, now I see how they could have been the good guys.
Yeah, because if you do,
they took Captain Marvel and they were like doing all this weird shit to her, and I know they realized, they explained later on that they thought that she was a member of the Kree, which she technically was, but they didn't know what power she had. So like, oh, we're sorry we treated you like shit. We didn't know that you were one of the good guys. You know what I mean?
Well, she technically wasn't, because she was Kree.
Yeah, she was Kree, but she also had the powers, and that's what they were looking for, because they realized that she could help them find the family.
But that doesn't make her a good guy.
No, but they realized that she could help them, so that's why they went easy on her.
That's kind of rude, you know?
I don't know.
You can help me. Let me be nice to you, but I'll be a dick too.
Yeah,
if you
it
can't
was kind of weird.
That's kind of selfish.
Or like when they first went to the Skrull planet and they started slaying everyone. I think that might have been the beginning before you started watching. They felt like bad guys because they were there. Like,
yeah, I didn't see that.
It was very weird, but beyond that, I thought it was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it whet my appetite for Endgame next month, to say the least.
Ew.
What?
What is that saying?
Whet your appetite?
I've never heard that.
Get excited. Get ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard that? Comment down below.
Give you a taste, give you a small preview of what to expect come Avengers Endgame.
There you go.
Later on, in a little later on in April. So, yeah. I thought it succeeded in what it set out to do. But by no means will it go down as one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time.
It didn't,
for me personally.
Yeah, it wasn't, I agree with it. It wasn't like iconic in the sense that, oh my God, I'm going to remember this movie forever. It was jaw-dropping. Like, it wasn't anything like that for me. It didn't do that type of job for me per se, but maybe for someone else it did. Like, I don't know.
Which it shouldn't anyway. Endgame's right, coming up in a few weeks.
That's a good point. Like,
Gotta
why
leave
would
the
they
focus on the big guns?
Maybe they did that on purpose.
Maybe. I don't think so. But
but if they came out with like Guardians of the Galaxy, if they came out with they didn't make it. It wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
But like, imagine if they came out with like Iron Man or like Guardians of the Galaxy right before
that would be
an Avengers
stupid.
movie. Yeah,
because it's going to get overshadowed.
Exactly. That's probably why they wanted to put why they didn't want to make it like a really big movie, because they could definitely do that. Like, they've got all the money in the world.
No, exactly.
They definitely have the power to do that. They probably didn't want to do that, maybe.
The timing was questionable with Avengers being next month, but since it leads right into Endgame anyway, I don't have too much of an issue with it.
I thought the timing was great, I think, because it's not... I didn't want it to be like, imagine if it was like right near Infinity War, like that's...
Like the week before or something. It essentially was, really. This movie came out in March, Endgame comes out in late April. There's like a 6 or 7 week difference. That's a quick turnaround.
I said imagine if it came out like right near Infinity War.
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean before or after?
After. Like Infinity War, then like a month or two later, Captain Marvel.
No,
like,
that wouldn't be as smart.
Like, I think what's cool is that we're all kind of left like, okay, the fuck? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
Until it finally
there was
came
Ant-Man
out.
and the Wasp, but I know what you're saying.
Okay, no one cares about that though.
Wow, bold prediction, bold opinion.
I'm not a big fan of Ant-Man at all.
All right.
That movie had...
Fair statement.
Literally nothing in the...
Don't agree, but fair statement.
I did not like that movie. The second movie, I will say, was good.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I said Ant-Man. I don't like Ant-Man.
I think you just meant the character in general.
Oh, no. No, the character's, like, not terrible, but, like, I hated the movie. It was not good.
You hated the movie?
Yeah.
We watched that here. You hated the movie when we watched it?
I was more focused on you.
Okay, so you didn't hate the movie.
I just hated how the movie was directing my attention towards the movie.
Yeah,
not
exactly. Getting back on track here. Out of 10, what do you give Captain Marvel?
7.
I give it a 7. I think that's solid.
It's a solid 7.
It was a solid, enjoyable movie. I don't want to say unspectacular because I thought it was very good. And I feel
it wasn't bad.
I would say if I would say it was unspectacular, that would mean that it was disappointing or like it lacked substance, which it didn't. It just wasn't jaw-droppingly amazing.
Yeah, and now that we're talking about it, like I said, I think I think some of that was done on purpose. I don't think all of it was, because that just, you don't do that on purpose. Like,
no, exactly. You don't make a movie bad on purpose.
I know, like, it's up to the people who are watching it deciding whether or not this is like a show-stopping film.
Exactly.
But I think some of it was done on purpose. Like, yeah. So I thought it was pretty good. It was enjoyable. Good timing for it. Everything else, acting was pretty good. Yeah.
Any expectations for Endgame or predictions and whatnot here on the show?
I'm probably gonna have to bring a car seat for you so you can sit down and stop jumping in the theater, because I know you're gonna be very excited.
It's gonna be big.
Yeah.
It's gonna be big.
It's gonna be me.
Oh, God. Hopefully not. Hopefully you're not getting snapped by Thanos.
I already did.
Yeah, you've already died like 3 times.
I literally... No, more than 3. I mean, I clicked on the refresh button
That's pretty bad.
15
it's
times.
Like a 50-50 chance, so to get no every time, like, Thanos does not like you.
No, he doesn't. No.
He really does not.
Thanos, he doesn't.
That was atrocious. Atrocious. Any final thoughts before we ride off into the sunset?
I love you. That's about it.
Well, I love you as well. Thank you guys for checking out the Marvel Movie Podcast. We'll be back soon with my 2 cents on another Marvel movie in the MCU. Until then, guys, for Alexis, I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. We'll catch your ass down the road.